Okay, we are now on to the building process of the GoPro naked camera kit from GEPRC for the GoPro 12. So we're going to take these components here and throw them into this case and be able to kind of have something like this. This is a 3D printed case that I printed myself, off Thingiverse or some website that I pulled it off of. So let's get this thing open and see what's inside. This might be the only time that I need this blade, so I'm going to put it away before I stab myself. Alright. So, we've got some mediocre instructions, if you want to call them that. Oh, here we go. User manual right there. I don't think I'll really need that stuff. And, don't need that. Alright, this can go out of the way. We've got some tools in here, it looks like. Yep. A little Torx bit. A little cooling fan. Oh, that thing's small. The little ribbon cable. This looks like maybe some double-sided tape. A little ND filter. Got a little package of screws. I've got a little cleaning cloth from GEPRC. What is this? Oh, that's the front screen cover for that screen. And wow, this case is heavy. I don't want to necessarily take that off, but it's kind of stuck there. Alright, so I'm going to leave that protector on there so I don't scratch it. Here's the inner case. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. They don't even have a screw hole for the bottom lens. So just the top two screws, and that's got like just a pinhole, so you kind of just an alignment hole. It's definitely a little bit heavier than I wanted it to be. Here's the PCB that we're going to be plugging into this ribbon cable. Some little pads that they want you to throw on so that your PCB isn't butted right up against the aluminum cage, I guess. And then this will be the back with its little power and record button back here. Oh, looks to be decent quality. These two halves fit together. Got a little SD card slot, have your fan mount. All right, we're gonna start putting this all together. I also forgot to mention it did come with this little mount and all these little screws, and then the battery cable attachment so that you can plug the PCB directly into your LiPo battery rather than having this wired to the flight controller. Alright, so now I'm just going to kind of clean up my area and remove everything from the packages. So I've already taken the screws out and thrown them on this magnet in order of size. So I have my biggest screws here going in descending size, just so I don't lose anything. It's just a good way to keep organized. This I'm not going to need for right now. I'm not going to need these cables for the battery as of right now. This is very important, this little ribbon cable. Definitely want to be careful with this. This is what plugs into the main PCB in the back. And then also we'll plug into the new PCB for the naked build. Put that off to the side. A little cleaner. I'm going to need this just to clean off the lens when I go to throw that in. And we do have to do a little bit of soldering with this kit. I'm going to have to solder the little fan to the PCB. So let's pull out the PCB. All right. So yeah, this gets soldered on right there. I'm going to do that probably off camera. This is the little screen mount that holds the front screen to the front case. As you can see, it's got some double-sided tape on it. And what I don't know is whether or not they want me to put double-sided tape underneath the screen to kind of hold it in place. I might decide on that. So yeah, this screen will go in here. Let me just test that out real quick. Alright, so the screen fits in there pretty snug, but there's definitely a little gap. So I am going to add a little bit of sticky tape or something under here just to add a little bit of cushion for that screen. Let's see if I can just pull it off right here, actually. It doesn't look like it. Here. Yes, there is. So I'm going to try to steal this. I'm just going to do this part right now, being that that's sticky. I am going to take my screen and just put that right on the center of the back. And then remove this piece of paper. There we go. Now there's that sticky stuff on there. And I guess I'm going to start the process already of this little build. So I just put the ribbon cable through this slot in the front case. Make sure that the case is relatively clean. And then I'm just going to push this right into place. And it feels like it's stuck down pretty well. I'm just being pretty gentle with it so I don't damage the screen. I still have this little protector on here just so I don't scratch the cover here during the build process. And as you can see, my cable's coming through. Looks good. And then I'm just going to peel this sticky off here. And it did leave this piece of paper here. I'm just going to use my razor to grab that. And then we're just going to throw this cover right into place. And press that down somewhat firmly. And look at that, we've already got part of our naked GoPro built. All right, so the front screen is in. Next, I'm going to add the lens. I want to make sure that the lens is clean, that there's no smudges or fingerprints on it from me disassembling things. And I'm just going to double check in the light. And then I'm just going to double check that my lens is clean in here. And this just gets placed in. I'm just going to double check that cleanliness there. Just make sure there's nothing in the little edges. Trying to be really thorough here. I'm probably doing a little bit of overkill, but I did have this sitting out for like a day, so there's probably a little bit of dust on here. All right, that looks pretty good. And this just gets placed right there. Like that. And I'm just going to grab 2 of the tiny screws. These are the 1.3 millimeter, I believe. Oh, look at that. It's even a little magnetic tool that they give you. So the screws kind of stay in place for you. So I'm just installing the 2 top screws here for the lens assembly. The bottom does not have a screw, so you don't have to mess around with that ribbon cable, moving that up and down, which you can definitely damage the ribbon cable by doing that. So I'm glad that they actually prevent that from being an issue. Just making sure that these are pretty tight because they're going to experience quite a bit of vibration on the drone. All right. Next, I believe I just install this main PCB. Oh, I know what it wants me to do. This is to dissipate the heat to the front of the case, being that the case is aluminum now. So these are for the main, yeah, one goes there, I believe one goes here. And then I think that these little ones go up top. Almost forgot to remove the plastic off the most important one. That would have been horrible. Okay, now this can be placed in here. And you just line up the screw holes. And these are also mounted with the smaller 1.3 millimeter screws. I'm just going to start with the 2 outer corners so that everything is hopefully lined up. Oh, I guess I can also plug in the front screen right here.
Maybe. Come on, buddy.
Oh, come on. Oh, there it goes. And I have to screw this corner back down. There we go. All right. So then it wants these little gasket things up top. Let's poke these out. So I could use this. Yep. It's got little screw holes. And you take the paper off. To reveal the sticky side. And they want one over this little round doohickey. I don't know what to call it. Screw alignment spot like that. And we'll get a second one. For this spot right here. Beautiful. So I'm still missing some screws. I'm going to mount that screw hole. I think I put that one in as well. Let me double check. All right, I just have 2 more littler screws to install on the main PCB. I should probably be throwing a little bit of Loctite or something on these little screws, being that they're going to be facing some pretty massive vibration. But I'm going to hope for the best. As I just tighten them down a little bit more. All right, there should be one more here. Come off this magnet. Magnet's probably a little bit stronger than what I need to hold these screws down. Oh, I'm going to solder this up really quick. I've got the 3.3 and the ground connections right there, so I'm going to tin these wires, get this soldered up really quick. So I'm just pre-tinning these connections. I don't plan on using the other connections here on this PCB because I'm going to just plug in. So I just need those 2. Oh, and then I'm going to pre-tin the wires as well. And I normally have a carbon filter going in here when I'm doing solder work, but I have it running out in my living room currently. All right, so let's go grab a little more solder. Ground is number 1. Let's go in like this, actually. Ground. And power. Ooh. Should probably have this in one of the helping hands, but that looks good. Just double check my connections aren't touching or anything. That negative has kind of a giant Hershey kiss on it, but whatever. Good enough. It'll work. It's just the fan. Okay. Now it wants me to add some double-sided tape, which I think that's what this is. It wants me to put it right here so I can have this taped down. And yeah, I think that's the only place that really wants me to put it. So I'm just gonna slice off a piece of this. Oh, and it's got some peely flaps on the back. That's nice compared to everything else that I've been using. Well, I'm gonna leave that on for right now. All right, luckily the GoPro does have 2 microphones, so I just grabbed the old cage from the GoPro 12. That was sitting in there like that. And as you can see, the front has a microphone here as well. So there's a side microphone and a front microphone. So being that I can't use my side microphone because it uses that with the new ribbon cable, I'm going to use the front microphone and hope that I will still have the voice capabilities. So it appears that this is just double-sided taped down, I think. So I'm just very, very gently pulling on this cable. And I can already see that the glue is starting to come up. I don't want to tear this little guy. It's a very fragile cable. And I really want to have a microphone on my GoPro. Come on, little guy. So the only other problem is you risk damaging the actual microphone by pulling it off like this. Oh, look at that. There's a little metal cage in here. I might be able to just peel that whole piece out. And I'm going to use the flathead screwdriver so I try not to break anything. There it goes. Okay, cage back in the parts bag. And now I've got my little microphone here. So this will actually be a little easier, hopefully, to jam in here and plug in. So I'm just going to slide it right in here in the front, just like that other one was, except now I'm going to be plugging it into the bottom plug on the little main PCB. Okay, and I'm even going to try to slide it up. Oh, nope, we can't slide up. I forgot. There's no holes there. This might not work out, but whatever. All right, that's plugged in. Worth attempting, I guess. So now let's get everything screwed back down. This screw goes here. Get in your home. Okay, I'm just going to retighten down all these main PCB screws. All right, continuing on. Now I'm going to have this up and out of the way. So now I can put this cable in. So this is what plugs in right there. I think I'm going to plug in this plug first so it stops moving around on me. There we go. Clicked on that one. Come on, get in your home. All right, clicked on that one. Now I need to click in this one. There it goes. Okay, and then this plugs into the other PCB. So now what I need to do is remove this double-sided tape here. There's that. All right. And this goes. What I'm going to do is actually unlatch the cable guide, because that slides in right there. I'm already touching that double-sided tape, unfortunately. This is going to be a juggling act. So I'm trying to slide that ribbon cable in to that slot, while at the same time not allowing this side to touch the double-sided tape. All right, that's looking like it's in. That's lined up with that screw hole. That's lined up with that screw hole. Guess it wasn't as hard as I thought. Now it wants me to use the two longer of the screws. Okay, and then we are going to add the screen cable back on. Oh, and first, actually, I'm going to plug in the main lens cable. So it almost like runs into this cable now. So I'm going to kind of push that down, I guess, with the old cable. It's going to be another juggling act, it looks like. So I have to press this cable down while pushing the new cable in place. The cable that was so much fun to plug in originally. I'm going to be struggling with it again, it looks like this time. Got it. All right, I guess I got a little bit better at it the second time around. And I don't like how it's like pushing that cable up, but it is what it is. I'm going to try to push that cable in there a little bit more. And then click that cable holder down. I think that's in all the way. All right. So now, I believe it wants me to put another little guard here. Yeah, may as well. They gave it to me. I may as well use it.
Right there.
All right there where that screw is going to go through and hold things in place. Then it also wants me to put some double-sided tape on the fan. I don't think I'm going to do that because then I can't take the back case off. All right, so I've got the front microphone in place. I just have it loose in there because I don't necessarily want it to be covering up those vents. But I do want it to be able to read my voice. I hope that it's in a good enough spot. I'm actually going to throw a little bit of double-sided tape up there just to kind of hold it in place. All right, microphone in, and I can see it right there. So hopefully that's enough. Everything is plugged in. All my screws are in place. I'm going to add the front screen, or sorry, the rear screen cable. And that's just going to be coming out of the bottom of the case. And this little fan just slides onto this half of the case. And it's going to go like that.
It'll fit. Come on, little guy. Okay, so there. Alright.
It doesn't even really need double-sided tape. It should just stay in place. Hopefully that's enough. All right. Looks beautiful. I am going to throw on a, I guess, a 4S cable attachment. Click in. There it goes. All right. just close up the 2 clamshells. And we just got to throw some screws in. So I believe the longer screw goes right there in this top corner. Now that looks a little better. And the rest gets these, I believe they're 4mm. Oh, there goes one. Whoops. So I'm just gently gonna screw that down like that. Not go all the way, because I might take a grinder to this back half of the case and slot out for this cable. All right, now the real test. Let's plug it in. Hope that the whole thing doesn't burn down to the ground. Okay, pressing the power button. I saw a light somewhere. Oh, yep, green light. Ooh, look at that. So the GoPro is working. That is awesome. Cool, it's got a green light instead of a red one. Awesome. So there's a naked GoPro 12 with it still running. Let me just grab the scale. And we're at 0 grams. Let's see what we're weighing at. Wow, 50.60 grams. And that's with all these stupid little cables and stuff. GoPro, stop recording. I think I have the voice commands turned off at the moment, but my microphone should be working as well. It's not the best at listening, but GoPro, start recording. As you can see, it will start recording. And it listens to voice commands. GoPro, stop recording. GoPro, stop recording. There we go. Nice. I definitely like having that feature when you're trying to fly this thing on a drone and you've got it plugged into your LiPo battery like this, and you don't want to have to try to press these little tiny buttons back here. Makes life just a little bit easier. GoPro, turn off. So we were having power issues because I didn't have one of the options selected correctly in my GoPro Labs firmware settings. So I just set that up so it has the TUSB activated, which means the USB is trusted. All right, I've got my naked GoPro 12 running here off this LiPo. Sounds like a jet engine's about to take off. And I've got the screen hooked up right here. And as you can see, I've got the GoPro app up on my phone. Continue as guest, GoPro. And look at that, I've got full functionality of my GoPro right from the app, which means I can download footage right onto my phone from my GoPro. The only problem is I can't get the app to connect to the GoPro when the screen is not plugged in. So for whatever reason, the GoPro app will not work when the screen's not plugged in. So unfortunately, you have to have it like that, but this does let you come in and change all your settings. You can, obviously update things, as you can see it updating right there on the screen. And yeah, we do live feed here. Oh, it's not letting me do it. But anyway, as you can see, the GoPro app works. So you can go in and change your settings that way rather than going through the GoPro Labs. All right, so there it is. Wrapping everything up. I've got the fan working. I modified the case so that I have the ribbon cable coming out of the bottom now, so I have the screen cable able to be plugged in, which allows me to change the settings right here on the screen. And then also the screen being plugged in also allows me to have the app working, the GoPro app, where you can go in and change the settings. Obviously, if you have the screen, you can just come in and, go in here and change all your settings like this. So you don't really need the GoPro app working at that point. But there it is. There's my naked GoPro 12 coming in at just a little over 50 grams. And I can't wait to get this thing out there and fly it.